Welcome back, everybody, and today we are talking El Dorado Hills, California, and specifically 8 reasons you might not want to move to El Dorado Hills, California. Now look, of course, I love El Dorado Hills. It's a great town. I have had a lot of clients buy homes there over the years, and my family goes and plays and eats and has a great time in El Dorado Hills. But the reality is every town has its downsides, and when you're thinking about relocating, it's really important to know the downsides too. So although I think El Dorado Hills represents some of the very best of Northern California living, that doesn't mean it doesn't have some cons to it. So today we're going to go over 8 reasons you might not want to move to El Dorado Hills, starting right now with reason number 1, and that is heat. Look, it's hot here. There's no sugarcoating it. It's a hot place to live. Really hot, like triple digits, a lot of days in the summer hot. And it's even often a little bit hotter than the flatter valley right next door down in Folsom and Sacramento, because the heat sort of rises up the canyon to El Dorado Hills. So it is a place that is hot to live in the summer. And if you and your family don't like the heat and don't like hot summers, then El Dorado Hills might not be the place for you. Now, of course, there are mitigating factors. There are a lot of backyard swimming pools in El Dorado Hills. Not as many as there are in Folsom, but there's a lot of them. There are community pools at the Community Services District, and in some of the subdivisions, there are community pools there as well. And of course, it's very quick to access Folsom Lake from El Dorado Hills. So there are a lot of places to go and have fun and cool off in the summers, including a new splash park that they built. But no matter how you slice it, it's a hot place to live. And if that's going to bother you, you might want to rethink El Dorado Hills. Hey, before we go on to reason number 2, you might not want to move to El Dorado Hills, take a second for me and hit the like button, click subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss another video with crucial information to help you with your relocation. Reason number 2 you might want to rethink moving to El Dorado Hills is the high cost of fire insurance. Now look, this is an issue statewide, really nationwide right now, but very specifically in California, the cost of fire insurance in the entire state has gone up dramatically over the last 10 years and is going to continue to do so. El Dorado Hills, being a community that has larger custom homes in a higher fire severity zone, is going to come with high fire premiums. The bare minimum I would expect to pay is $5,000 to $6,000 in annual premiums, and that's for a modest sized home. If you have a larger home, a home up further in the hills, a little more acreage, I have seen policies very commonly above $10,000 in the El Dorado Hills area, and even sometimes up in that $12,000 to $15,000 range is not unusual. The sky's the limit because there are some really large multi-million-dollar custom homes in El Dorado Hills. But all this is to say that this area in general, the foothills and El Dorado Hills, is your first community in the foothills. Right as you cross the Sacramento to El Dorado County line, this whole area of the foothills suffers from higher fire insurance costs, and El Dorado Hills is no different. So if you're sensitive to the cost of your hazard insurance for your home and you want lower homeowners insurance costs, it might be time to look somewhere else. And if you are looking somewhere else, Folsom, just over the line from El Dorado Hills into Sacramento County, would be a good place to look. It has lower fire insurance costs, it has lower utility costs, and it has lower home price costs. If you want more on that, you can watch my Folsom versus El Dorado Hills video. I'll link that at the end for you. Right about now, you might be wondering who I am and why you should be listening to me about El Dorado Hills, real estate, or anything at all, really, and that's a fair question. My name's Rich Curtis with EXP Realty, and I've been selling homes here for over 20 years in markets ranging from the Great Recession to the COVID market insanity and everything in between. My goal with this channel is to help you make the highest quality real estate decisions you can from the comfort of your couch. So to that end, let's jump right back into the reasons why you might not want to move to El Dorado Hills, California. Reason number 3 you may want to consider not moving to El Dorado Hills, California is due to high home prices. Like I said before, El Dorado Hills represents the very best that Northern California living has to offer. It's truly an amazing place to live, and over the last decade, it has seen tremendous growth and lots of people moving in there. And with that comes higher home prices. Also, the builders tend to build bigger, custom, resort-style living homes in El Dorado Hills, which makes them more expensive. So as of the recording of this video, in the winter of 2025, the median home price in El Dorado Hills is just shy of $900,000, and the average is just over $1 million. With home prices like that, El Dorado Hills isn't for everyone. Maybe you are on a tighter budget, and if so, it can be harder to find your home of choice in El Dorado Hills. Now, that doesn't mean there's nothing on offer at less than $1 million. Of course there is, but the bottom of the market is going to be around $450,000 to $500,000, and those are going to be older, smaller homes that need a little bit of work. Now, you might be wondering, what are you going to get for your median home price of $900,000? Well, you're going to get around a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,700 square foot home on anywhere from 0.1 to 0.25 acres of a lot size that is in pretty darn good shape, but still, even at that price, will need a little bit of updating. So El Dorado Hills is definitely not a budget or low price home community, which makes it not right for every family. Reason number 4 you may want to consider not moving to El Dorado Hills is because of HOA and Mello-Roos fees. Look, El Dorado Hills, as it's been built out over the last couple of decades with this big boom of growth it's seen, has been built out mostly in planned unit intentional subdivisions, which come with HOAs and often Mello-Roos. Most people are familiar with what an HOA is, a homeowner association, and these can be measured in the hundreds a month. But a lot of people don't know much about Mello-Roos. Mello-Roos is just a way for builders to pass on the cost of community infrastructure to the eventual owners of the homes. This is things like sewers, streetlights, sidewalks. They lump the cost of all that together, put in a taxable bond, attach it to the tax bill for your home, and you pay that off over a set number of years, usually 20 to 30 years. Now, these can be quite high. I have seen Mello-Roos fees in El Dorado Hills north of $500 in some cases. When you combine that with HOA and the high cost of fire insurance, it can make home payments get high pretty quick, much higher than they would be in a different community where you were buying a residential resale home that didn't have HOA, didn't have Mello-Roos, or was in a lower fire severity zone. So you have to take all that into consideration, that your payment on a home in El Dorado Hills could be much higher than on a similar home in another community just because of these factors. And it's something to consider before you choose El Dorado Hills as the community that you're going to move to. Look, if at the end of this video you still aren't sure if El Dorado Hills is right for you, or you want information on some more of the communities in the foothills, feel free to reach out to me via the contact information on your screen or in the description down below. Like I said, I've been selling homes here for 20 years. I've helped hundreds of families just like yours decide where to land in El Dorado and Sacramento counties, and I'm always happy to help. All right, now back to our list of reasons why you may not want to move to El Dorado Hills. Reason number 5 why you may want to consider not moving to El Dorado Hills is because of the high cost of PG&E electricity. Look, most of the foothills, once you cross the El Dorado County line, is going to be on PG&E. However, just over the El Dorado County, Sacramento County line is the town of Folsom. Folsom and El Dorado Hills share a border, and that border happens to be the county line as well. Once you just bop into Folsom, you're in SMUD territory, Sacramento Municipal Utilities District. Easy for me to say, Sacramento Municipal Utilities District, and SMUD fees are nearly half of the cost of PG&E fees. So for the same house running the electricity and the air conditioning and everything, the same amount in the community of El Dorado Hills versus the community of Folsom, you're going to come in at nearly half the cost for your monthly utility bills in Folsom that you would in El Dorado Hills. It's something to consider when you lump it in with all these additional fees we've already talked about. It comes together to paint the picture of El Dorado Hills as an expensive community to live in, and that is a fact. It is more expensive to live in El Dorado Hills than it is just over the line in Folsom. So you better love the foothills living and the small town foothills vibe of El Dorado Hills, because you are going to be paying a premium for it, and your electricity bills are part of that premium. Something for you to consider before moving to El Dorado Hills. Reason number 6 you may want to consider not moving to El Dorado Hills is because of traffic. Now look, our big relocation markets are the Bay Area and LA, and if you're coming from either of those two places, this isn't the kind of traffic you're used to. This is way better and way more mellow. So for most of you, this won't seem like a big deal. You'll be like, what are you talking about, Rich? This is not traffic. We've got traffic. And I get it. But for El Dorado County, El Dorado Hills has some of the most traffic in the entire county. And that's because of its proximity to Folsom and to the county line. It is the first community as you drive into El Dorado County. And a ton of people who live in El Dorado County work in Sacramento County and in downtown Sacramento, because there's a much larger and more robust job market in Sacramento and Sacramento County than there is in El Dorado County. So all those people, they got to get to work in the morning and they got to get home at night, and that creates traffic, particularly East Bidwell exit in Folsom, which is the last exit before you go up the hills to the El Dorado Hills exit, which is the first of 2 exits that access El Dorado Hills, California, gets very, very backed up at commute times because it's not only the way everybody's going home in Folsom, but it's also the way everybody goes to hit the restaurants and the shopping and do everything they need to do and all their errands on the way home as well. So if you live in El Dorado Hills and you work in Sacramento, you got to get through all that East Bidwell traffic and up through the El Dorado Hills traffic and into town. So at peak commute times, that can be a little frustrating for some people. As I say, depending on where you're coming from, this might not feel like anything at all. But for those of us who live in El Dorado County and we don't deal with traffic very much, it can feel like a lot at those commute times. Reason number 7 you may want to consider not moving to El Dorado Hills is if you love your nightlife. Look, in El Dorado Hills, there just isn't much nightlife to speak of. We do have some great restaurants and some bars and some places to hang out, but really, it is still small town foothills living, and they pretty much pull the curbs in around 9 or 10 at night. So if you're a real night owl and you really like your nightlife, or you like a large variety of nightlife where you can go to multiple clubs in a weekend, that's going to be a downtown Sacramento thing, not an El Dorado Hills thing. So if you are still in the phase of life where you're really living it up on the weekends and you love your nightlife, El Dorado Hills might be just a little too sleepy for you and your family. All right, reason number 8, why you might not want to move to El Dorado Hills, and the last reason on our list, and this one actually could be a reason to move or not to move depending on who you are, and that is that it is a subdivisions and strip malls kind of town. It is the first town into the foothills, and so there are windy roads and hills and beautiful views and beautiful countryside in El Dorado Hills. But when it comes to the homes, they're going to be in subdivisions on normal subdivision streets like you might be used to coming from places like the South Bay or LA area. It's also going to be shopping mostly based in strip malls. There is the town center in El Dorado Hills, which is kind of like one big massive strip mall that creates a downtown feel for El Dorado Hills and is a community gathering place, and it is a great resource and a great place to go out for fun, go to the farmer's market, go on a date. It's an awesome place. But around that, there's also just a bunch of strip malls. Now, if you're coming from a San Jose or an LA suburb or something like that, this could be a pro for you because it will feel a lot like home. The way you shop, the way you drive around, it'll all feel very familiar. But if you're moving to El Dorado County for that rural mountain town vibe, El Dorado Hills just doesn't quite have that. You need to keep going east. You need to keep going uphill to really get to the town of Placerville before you start to feel that small mountain town vibe. So for some of you, this could be a negative and a reason not to move to El Dorado Hills. And for some of you, it could be a positive because it'll feel more like home. You'll have to decide which one it is for your family. Look, this wraps up our discussion of 8 reasons why you may not want to move to El Dorado Hills, California. And like I said, I love El Dorado Hills. I think it's an amazing place to live. But if one of the things on this list is a deal breaker for your family, then it might just not be right for you. And I hope this information has helped you decide if this community is right for your family or not. Now, if you'd like to take a deeper dive into El Dorado Hills, you can click this video right here for my pros and cons of living in El Dorado Hills. And if you'd like to see El Dorado Hills pitted up against that next town up the hill where it has a little more mountain town vibe, you can click this video right here for El Dorado Hills versus Placerville. And if you'd like to see El Dorado Hills pitted in a head-to-head battle against several of our other foothills towns to really pick which town might be right for your family, you can click this playlist down here for my town versus town comparison videos. As always, thank you for watching. Thanks for making it to the end with me, and I'll see you on the next one.